Every kitchen in the world has a roll of aluminum foil sitting quietly inside a drawer like an object nobody notices anymore. Almost like the forgotten item in a mystery movie that later turns out to be the most important thing in the entire story. People pull it out every single day to wrap leftovers, cover food, line baking trays, protect meals inside ovens, or clean dirty surfaces. But almost nobody ever stops long enough to realize how many strange and useful things this thin silver sheet can actually do. For decades, millions of people believed the shiny side versus dull side myth exactly the way people believe old urban legends repeated endlessly across the internet. Cooking videos talk about it like it is some hidden secret discovered by professional chefs, while blogs repeat the same information again and again without anyone questioning where the claim originally came from. Some people insist the shiny side reflects more heat, while others believe the dull side traps heat better, almost like two groups arguing over a mystery nobody ever properly investigated. Inside massive factories that look like scenes from futuristic science fiction films, giant steel rollers crush aluminum under unbelievable pressure while sparks flash through the air and enormous machines shake the ground beneath them. Molten metal glows orange beneath bright industrial lights, while endless sheets of aluminum move through polished rollers at incredible speed. During the final stage of production, two thin sheets pass through the rollers together. The side touching the smooth steel becomes shiny, while the other side remains dull because it touches another sheet instead of polished metal. That is the entire reason the two sides look different. Inside a glowing oven filled with warm orange light, two trays slowly bake side by side while steam rises gently through the air like scenes from a professional cooking commercial. One tray uses the shiny side upward, while the other uses the dull side. Heat spreads evenly around both trays while the food cooks almost exactly the same way. Temperatures rise at nearly identical speeds while the final dishes look almost impossible to tell apart. The dramatic debate people argued about for decades suddenly feels meaningless once the results appear nearly identical. Somewhere else inside another kitchen drawer sits an old pair of scissors that struggles to cut paper anymore, almost like a worn-out tool forgotten after years of heavy use. The blades snag constantly while paper bends awkwardly instead of slicing cleanly. Most people would immediately throw the scissors away without realizing they can still be restored using something already sitting quietly inside the kitchen. A large sheet of aluminum foil unfolds slowly across the counter beneath bright kitchen lights, like a scene from one of those satisfying restoration videos watched by millions online. The foil gets folded several times into a thick layered strip before the dull scissors begin cutting slowly through it, using long, careful strokes. Tiny metallic sounds echo softly while invisible residue and buildup slowly scrape away from the blades with every movement. After several cuts, the same scissors suddenly glide through paper smoothly again, almost like watching an old broken object come back to life during a dramatic transformation sequence in a documentary. The improvement feels strangely satisfying considering it came from something as ordinary as kitchen foil. Outside, beneath dark evening skies, an old barbecue grill sits covered in thick black grease and burnt residue from years of cooking, looking almost abandoned, like something left behind after summer disappeared long ago. Smoke drifts slowly upward into the cold night air, while layers of carbon cling stubbornly to the metal grates. Instead of using expensive wire brushes, someone crushes a large sheet of aluminum foil tightly into a rough metallic ball and grips it with metal tongs. The grill glows under intense heat while the foil scrapes aggressively across the surface. Burnt grease cracks apart in satisfying pieces while thick black residue falls away exactly like those deep cleaning transformation videos people watch online for hours because the process feels oddly addictive to watch. Inside a dim bathroom lit with cold blue light, rust slowly spreads across an old chrome faucet while water drips quietly into the sink below. The scene feels almost identical to dramatic before and after restoration videos where damaged objects slowly transform back into something shiny and new again. A small square of aluminum foil dips gently into water before rubbing softly against the rusted chrome. Slowly, the orange corrosion begins disappearing while reflections return to the metal surface. The faucet gradually changes from old and damaged into something polished and clean again, almost like watching time reverse itself right in front of your eyes. Across another room, a wireless router blinks weakly in the corner while internet videos freeze endlessly and pages refuse to load properly. The frustration feels familiar to almost everyone, like the moment a movie suddenly buffers during the most important scene. Then a curved sheet of aluminum foil gets placed behind the router, almost like a miniature satellite dish from a science fiction movie. Invisible signals bounce forward instead of scattering uselessly into empty walls. Suddenly, streaming becomes smoother while internet speeds improve in parts of the house that previously struggled to connect properly. Inside another kitchen, trays of cookies bake unevenly inside an old oven while the back row burns darker and the front rows remain pale and soft. It looks exactly like a failed baking challenge where nothing cooks evenly no matter how many times someone rotates the trays. 3 loose balls of aluminum foil placed beneath the baking tray create a small gap underneath the pan. Hot air suddenly circulates more evenly while the cookies slowly turn golden brown together, almost like the perfect food commercial where every cookie looks identical and perfectly baked under warm, cinematic lighting. Beyond kitchens, aluminum foil appears in places most people never expect. Campers wrap meals beside glowing campfires deep inside forests, while sparks rise into dark night skies like scenes from survival movies. Mechanics place reflective foil barriers around engine parts inside noisy garages filled with tools, smoke, and bright workshop lights. Artists shape foil into textured sculptures beneath powerful studio lighting, while gardeners place reflective strips near plants so sunlight flashes brightly across green leaves during the middle of the day. In photography studios, foil sometimes reflects light toward subjects exactly like professional reflectors used during expensive photo shoots. Emergency kits often contain small rolls of foil because the material becomes incredibly useful during storms, disasters, and survival situations. It reflects heat during freezing nights, protects supplies from moisture, helps cook food over open flames, and even works for signaling rescue in remote areas where people become stranded alone. Inside garages, foil protects surfaces during painting projects, while homeowners use it to polish tarnished metal around the house. Some people place foil beneath ironing board covers to reflect extra heat, while others use it to sharpen tools or clean stubborn dirt from difficult corners and narrow spaces. At first glance, aluminum foil looks like one of the simplest objects inside any kitchen. But the more people experiment with it, the more it starts feeling like one of those surprisingly versatile tools hidden in plain sight the entire time. A thin sheet of aluminum has cleaned tools, restored metal, redirected invisible signals, improved cooking, reflected heat, protected surfaces, helped survival situations, and solved problems in ways most people never even imagine. For years, the secret sat quietly inside millions of homes while people walked past them every day without realizing what they already had. What once looked like an ordinary kitchen product suddenly feels completely different once people understand how many hidden uses were waiting inside a single roll of aluminum foil.